The idea that I have for today is to create a thumbnail generation system. So what do we actually need to do over here is to create some sort of system that completely automates the creation of thumbnail of YouTube video. What we need to do on our side is we need to input what is the title looking like, what is the actual template that we want to use, click a button, and then a thumbnail is completely generated for us in some sort of automatic way. So I started over here highlighting what we actually need to do within the system in order to make it work. And the idea here is, first off, obviously, we need to have some kind of Airtable structure to contain everything. And yeah, I decided to do everything within Airtable. This is what is the Airtable table looking like. Then what we need to do within is we need to add the YouTube title to Airtable. We need to select the specific template that we want to use. We need to add the YouTube title text or thumbnail text, click the button, and then the thumbnail will be auto-generated. So just to give you an idea, I already started creating the template over here with the two different things. Over here, we have the YouTube videos. Over here, we have the thumbnail templates. For the thumbnail templates, we're going to use a specific tool, which is called Render Form. In the market, there are a lot of different tools that you can find for image generation or templated image generation. The reason why I choose this tool is that it allows for an option that is pay as you go. So this actually means that you don't have to be locked on a monthly subscription. Instead, what you actually can do is let's say you need 500 credits, you just purchase 500 credits and then you have those credits within your account and you can just use that. And you don't actually need to pay $9 per month for 100 credits and you just pay once. The way this actually works is you can create some templates over here. I created 2 example templates like these images over here. But potentially what you can do is you can create additional templates over here, and this can be used across a wide variety of different areas. So you can also create social media posts if you want with this, or you can create all sort of different things, just graphs and different things like that. Within the interface and within templates over here, you see that we have a template. This is a very simple template. And within here, we have 2 main information. We have the thumbnail file, thumbnail title, and then we have the image. What we can do with this kind of system is we can select the thumbnail title, for example. We can select the property of the thumbnail title, and then we can modify those using the API. So, for example, if we want to select the text, what we can do is we can type thumbnail underscore title dot text, and we can select that specific property. In order to make this work, the best option here is to make sure that everything is named in the correct way. In this way, you can always name stuff in the correct way. This is also why naming convention is important across different templates. If I use thumbnail title over here, I should also use that over here just for the automation purposes. The first thing that we need to do over here would be to populate the thumbnail templates. The reason why we should do that is so that we already have the information within our table related to the different thumbnails. And then over here, we can select a specific thumbnails later if you want to. Let's start with this automation over here. The idea over here is to use a render form. Within render form, there are a lot of different modules and actions. Over here, there's the get templates, and I already set it up everything here, so you don't have to do any kind of setup in this regard. And so you click OK, you run this module only, and what you see over here is that you will get the various templates that are present. And so our goal over here would be to have those kind of templates directly within our table. Let's create a record over here. Let's select the right base. Thumbnail templates. And then we have all the information that was present over here. So we have the name, we have the identifier, we have the preview URL. Over here, we also add the template image, which is the preview URL. So those are the things that we actually need to do or need to add over here. So this is like create templates. Let's run this. you will see this will run 2 times, and over here we will have the different thumbnails that we can choose. So like for example, in this thumbnail, we have two options. We have the option to change the text, or we have the option to add an image over here. This other thumbnail, in meanwhile, we have the option to only change the title, for example. So right now we have the two templates. Let's go to the YouTube videos part. The idea over here is the following. Here we're gonna add something like the title. So let's say I created 1,243 automations. You have the YouTube video name. Over here, you select the specific thumbnail that you want, template that you want to use. So let's say I want to use this template over here. And over here, I say 1,243 automations created. What I can do over here is I can add an automation image, and we're gonna see how this can be used. But once you add like the template and the thumbnail text, what you can do is you can click on generate thumbnails, and that would be auto-generated. The idea behind this generate thumbnails over here is that you would have to configure a formula in the correct way. Generally, what you can do is you can go to make.com. You can go over here. You can create a new webhook, and I already created an example webhook previously. So within Airtable here, you can add the URL over here. So what will happen if you add the URL over here is that if you start running this, for example, and you click on this one, first off, you will see this black screen, but we're going to see how to remove this. And once you click that, you saw that this was actually triggered directly from Airtable. Now, what we actually need to do over here is we need to add a way to identify that this specific record has been triggered within our table. What we need to do is we need to add query parameters to this URL formula. You can do that by adding the question mark. You define the query parameter name. So for example, I will use record ID, add equal. And so in this way, the record ID will be the actual key that I'm going to use. And then I need to define what is equal to. If, for example, right now I do it's equal to test, and like this is value. If I save over here, and if I go back over here and run this, what I'm going to see if I generate the thumbnail is that over here I have the record ID, which is equal to test. We don't want this to be static, but instead we want this to be dynamic. And so what we're going to use is we're going to use the record ID. The record ID basically is the unique identifier to each of the records which are present within Airtable. So in this way, like this specific record has a record ID. If I create a new record with like the new automation, this was AI generated. This has a different record ID and so on. Right now, for example, if I click on this and run this and go back to make, as you can see here, we will have the record ID. The record ID can be connected to Airtable using the Airtable module, and we can use the get record over here to actually get the information about that specific record. That is generally how all the automation within Airtable and Make work. So you create a webhook, you connect it to the record ID, and then in this way, you actually get the information from Airtable within Make. So what we're gonna do over here is we're gonna get YouTube video. And right now we're gonna make it a little bit faster by using the previous record ID like so. And so here we're gonna get all the information, right? So the YouTube video name, the thumbnail text, and then also the template itself over here. So as you can see over here, we have the template, and within here we have another record ID, which is the record ID of this template over here. This is useful for us, and we're gonna use this to get the record ID name. And let's add it over here. So get a template. This template over here, and we need to make sure to change the table. And this way we get the actual template itself. Now, what we need to do next is we need to use render form to actually render the image. So we use render form, we select render image, and then over here we have the template identifier that we can choose. Here you see we have an option, but we can do map, and by doing map, we can actually use either the template name or the template ID. I haven't tested with the template ID, but we can surely do the testing. And then over here we have like the link expiration time. So this is how much time do we have until the link is finalized, in order so that we can actually download the data in a somewhat secure way. And then we have the different template properties. This isn't clearly explained over here, but it's explained in a very good way within the documentation itself. If we go to the REST API. So if we go to render images, for example, over here, they mentioned that when you need to render an image, what you need to do is you need to use the component ID, and then you need to use a specific property. So for example, here we have 3 properties, which I think are the most used one, which is color, text, and source. Color is to modify the color of the element. Text is to modify the actual text of the element, and source is to modify the actual source. Source is mainly related to images. Meanwhile, the other 2 are related to text. For example, if right now we were to put a template property that we need to modify here, we need to look at the properties that are present over here. And that is why I mentioned before that it's important to have a naming convention established over here. And we need to take this over here, for example, and add it over here. Then we need to add a dot, and then we will add the text, for example. And within text, we will add the thumbnail text. This is how you add one after another. The other thing that you can do over here is you can add multiple template properties directly over here. So for example, like within this part, we just have the idea of a thumbnail title, but I can also possibly add automation image over here without any kind of problem. So if I add automation image, and here I add the source, for example, I can take the automation image that was present over here in the YouTube video. I can take the URL, and this can be created. So this is to generate the image. And then finally, what we need to do is we need to update our table to add that kind of image to the system. So let's do that. And we're going to select the thumbnail generation system. We're going to select the YouTube video. Record ID is the record ID that we have over here. And then YouTube thumbnail over here, we have the file URL. I think we would have to test it out, test this out to check what is the result looking like. Before actually doing that, let's test it. Let's run. Let's make sure that we have everything over here. So like here we use social media cover. Social media cover doesn't have the image, just as the text. So over here we have this, I created 1243 automation, and the thumbnail text is the following. So this is what is going to be used. I click on this button, and then if I go over here, you will see that everything worked correctly. If I go over here I have the href, which would be the image URL. If we go over here and check this image URL, seems that the image doesn't we are not allowed to see the image for some kind of reason. Yeah, for some kind of reason we are not allowed to see the image. But let's continue, and let's add the image over here into the base. So maybe if we add the image directly within the base, we don't have any kind of problem. I select YouTube video. I select the record ID over here, and then I select the thumbnail. The thumbnail is this href URL. So over here, I just add the thumbnail image. Click on save, click on run, and let's test this out and let's see what is this looking like. Okay, so it seems that this was generated correctly. The title is what we have over here, and this is super good. Now let's test also another one, and let's do another text with the other thumbnail example with this URL over here. So As you can see over here, we have the text and then we have the image itself. So let's try to add the text such as this was the AI generated. Then we add the automation image of this system over here. So let's go back and let's use this as a reference. Okay, let's drop the file over here. We can make it live. And then once we have that live, we can click on this, go back, and we can see what is the actual result looking like in a second over here. Okay, this is finalized. And this is the actual result looking like. As you can see, this is not like the best possible result probably, but if we go back to the template editor, I think here we can do something like change the image to be contained instead of being like how we like cover, so that could help fix the image itself. Let's try to do also a version like the following. And what we can do is we can, for example, duplicate this. This can be removed, and then we click on this, so we can check what is the actual result. Like, I mean, this is super good as a template that was just created with 2 clicks. What do you think about it? I hope this was useful. This is very interesting tutorial on how to create images directly to this image generation system. And again, the system is available down here if you want to access that. And hope this is useful. Bye bye.